You stay silent to appear noble, but silence without strategy is submission. Every unchallenged act records consent, training predators to rewrite your limits. Chapter 1. Silence is not neutral. Purpose. Destroy the belief that silence is virtuous or safe. Reframe silence as an active signal that trains others how far they can go. Chapter 2. The psychology of unopposed action. Purpose. Expose how humans interpret silence as approval, weakness, or fear. Reveal the subconscious mechanism that converts inaction into permission. Chapter 3. The 11 silent sins, behavioral patterns. Purpose. Catalog the specific actions men take or fail to take in silence that collapse authority. Turn vague mistakes into named, inescapable patterns. Chapter 4. How silence built and destroyed empires. Purpose. Deepen the threat using history, power struggles, and human nature. Prove that silence has always been the ally of takeover and erosion. Chapter 5. When to break silence with precision. Purpose. Teach controlled, strategic interruption. When to speak, how to signal consequence, and when silence becomes a weapon instead of a weakness. Chapter 6. Executing the silent self. Purpose. Kill the identity that hides behind quiet compliance. Install a sovereignty-first identity that treats speech and silence as tools, not morals. Chapter 7. Final command. Never leave power undefined. Purpose. Deliver a final warning and elite call to action. Seal the lesson. Any space you do not define will be defined against you. Chapter 1. Silence is not neutral. Silence is not empty. It is not passive. It is not moral restraint. Silence is a signal, and the system reads it faster than words. You were taught that staying quiet makes you dignified, that not reacting shows maturity, that absorbing behavior without response proves strength. This belief is not noble, it is lethal, because in human hierarchies, silence is never interpreted as depth, it is interpreted as permission. Every time something happens and you say nothing, the environment updates your map of you, not your intentions, your limits. Silence tells others how much pressure you can absorb before pushing back. Most men never push back. That is why pressure increases. Here is the frame shift. Action defines reality. Silence allows others to define it for you. When someone interrupts you and you stay quiet, the hierarchy records that interruption is allowed. When someone delays you and you accept it silently, delay becomes normalized. When someone disrespects you and you swallow it, disrespect becomes precedent. Precedent is power. Silence does not preserve peace, it preserves other people's advantage. Machiavelli understood this instinctively. Power is not offended by noise, it is emboldened by absence. The prince who fails to respond teaches rivals exactly how to advance. Territory is never taken in one move. It is taken inch by inch, probe by probe, each unopposed action a green light. You assume people will know what crossed a line. They won't. Humans are not guided by empathy. They are guided by feedback. No feedback means approval. This is why silence is so attractive to predators. It's cheap. It costs them nothing to test you. A small violation, a subtle slight, a boundary push disguised as accident. If nothing happens, they escalate, not emotionally, strategically. Silence trains them. Understand this clearly. The hierarchy does not punish overreach. It punishes miscalculation. If someone overreaches and survives, the overreach becomes wisdom. Your silence converts their gamble into success. You may tell yourself you are choosing battles. In reality, you are avoiding them. Avoidance is readable. It marks you as manageable. This does not mean you must react loudly. Loud reactions are often weakness. What matters is response, not volume. Even minimal correction resets the frame. Silence never does. There is another danger: internal corrosion. Every time you stay silent when you should act, you fracture your own authority. Your nervous system learns that your boundaries are theoretical. Over time, you stop trusting yourself to enforce anything. That is how men become spectators in their own lives, present, capable, and irrelevant.
Chapter 2: The Psychology of Unopposed Action. Humans are pattern recognition machines. Every interaction, every pause, every unchallenged act is cataloged and stored subconsciously by everyone around you. Silence is not neutral, it is data. It informs others how you respond under pressure, what you tolerate, and what costs nothing to violate. When you do not act, your behavior signals approval, weakness, or fear, often all three simultaneously. The system does not care about intent. Intent is invisible. Only effect matters. Every unopposed action becomes precedent. The hierarchy recalibrates itself around your inaction. Your limits shrink. Your authority erodes. The brain treats silence as feedback. Imagine a predator testing a prey line. Step forward, no reaction. Step again, still nothing. By the third probe, the prey's position is assumed, malleable, predictable, exploitable. Humans operate the same way socially. When you allow violations without consequence, boundaries dissolve. You do not notice it immediately because the decay is subtle. An inch here, a slight delay there, a softened correction, but the cumulative effect is catastrophic. There is also a psychological inversion at work. We perceive silence as virtue because we have moralized it. We say, "I am patient, I am measured, I do not escalate unnecessarily." That reasoning is seductive because it masks the truth. Patience and restraint without leverage is surrender. Virtue is weaponized against you when the hierarchy prefers costless compliance. Unopposed action operates through two mechanisms: projection and normalization. First, others project their assumptions onto your silence. If you do not respond, they assume acceptance. Second, unchallenged behavior becomes normalized. The first small boundary violation is manageable. The second sets the tone. The third is expected. Soon, what would have been intolerable becomes routine. You become the baseline everyone exploits. History demonstrates this repeatedly. Leaders who fail to act against minor encroachments invite insurrection, betrayal, and erosion of influence. In interpersonal dynamics, men who do not respond to micro-disrespect find themselves bypassed in promotions, ignored in negotiations, and marginalized socially. Silence teaches them how far they can go and how little risk they face. Even more insidious is self-deception. When you stay silent, you may rationalize it. "I'm strategic. I'm choosing my battles." The subconscious system does not care about rationalizations. It encodes your behavior as low cost, low risk, and in a system that measures cost, you are downgraded automatically. Breaking the psychology of unopposed action requires two things: awareness and recalibration. Awareness is seeing every silence as a vector of influence, not virtue. Recalibration is determining which moments require immediate, precise correction and which require controlled observation. Silence can become a weapon, but only when wielded consciously. Otherwise, it is your executioner. The lesson is simple. Inaction communicates more than words ever could. Left unchecked, it becomes your liability, your erasure, your invitation for others to write the rules of engagement. Chapter 3: The 11 Silent Sins, Behavioral Patterns.
Silence is not neutral, but silence combined with specific actions or failures to act create predictable collapse patterns. These are the 11 sins men commit in quiet, each one eroding authority, inviting exploitation, and training predators without a single word spoken. 1. Allowing interruptions. Every time someone speaks over you and you do nothing, you teach them that your voice is optional. The hierarchy marks you as replaceable. 2. Delaying response indefinitely. Failing to reply or act promptly signals disinterest in your own domain. Others take control of timelines, resources, and decisions while you wait. 3. Silent agreement. Nodding, smiling, or withholding objection while disagreeing communicates permission. The system assumes compliance and escalates demands accordingly. 4. Tolerating micro-disrespect. Subtle insults, dismissive gestures, or minor slights left unchecked compound. Each tolerated act normalizes the next. Silence is interpreted as approval. 5. Avoiding confrontation at all costs. Hesitation to address tension signals weakness. The world does not value restraint, it values resistance. Avoidance trains others to cross you freely. 6. Absorbing burden quietly. Taking on extra work, responsibilities, or emotional labor without pushback broadcasts over-availability. You become the infrastructure, not the authority. 7. Over-explaining yourself. Silence paired with constant explanation creates a perception of tentative power. You preemptively justify actions that should stand alone, teaching others that your limits are negotiable. 8. Not correcting misperceptions. Allowing misinterpretation of your intentions or decisions without intervention gives the system a false map. Misperceptions become rules, and rules are enforced. 9. Failing to withdraw access. Remaining constantly available without conditions makes your presence cheap. Scarcity is authority. Silence plus omnipresence signals expendability. 10. Submitting without protest. Agreeing silently to decisions, directives, or demands beyond your limit trains the hierarchy to assume full control. Each concession sets a precedent. 11. Ignoring escalating encroachment. When minor violations snowball into major overreach and you stay silent, the system adapts without consequence to the predator. Your domain is quietly stolen. These behaviors are not theoretical, they are mechanical. They repeat in offices, families, friendships, and governments. They are invisible traps because each alone feels insignificant, but together they form a lattice of compliance around you. Notice the common thread. Every sin transforms silence into currency for others. Authority decays silently, incrementally, without confrontation, while the man committing these sins believes he is virtuous, patient, or strategic. Moral inversion is key here. You were taught that restraint, patience, and silent endurance are noble. In truth, they are invitations for domination. The system rewards cost imposition, not moral correctness. Recognizing these patterns is the first step. Naming them is crucial. Once labeled, they can be surgically removed. Without recognition, they are invisible chains, tightening each day. This chapter is a mirror. If you see yourself in these behaviors, understand that they are actively eroding your position, and every predator, subtle or overt, has already calculated your limits. The next step is understanding how silence has historically been weaponized against men like you.